My name is Casey Palumbo, and this is my informative speech on the Munich Massacre. The Munich Massacre had a great effect on my father's life, being the first time as a 12-year-old that he realized what troubles were occurring in the Middle East. The Munich Massacre was a terrorist attack during the 1972 Olympic Games. 8 Palestinian terrorists killed 2 members of the Israeli Olympic team and took 9 others hostage. At the conclusion of the event, 5 terrorists and 9 hostages were dead. When my father was a child, the Olympics were always a big family event. My father did not have a lot of awareness of the conflicts in the Middle East. To his knowledge, nobody had ever been killed during a huge event such as the Olympics. It was very shocking and left an impression on him about what was going on in the Middle East. Nothing like this had ever happened, to his knowledge, during such a huge event as the Olympics. He became more interested and curious in what was going on and learned a lot about the conflicts in the Middle East. The world suddenly seemed more dangerous to him. My father began to pay more attention to the news coverage on the Munich Massacre and learned a lot about the terrorist attack and what events followed it. The games were held in Munich, Germany in 1972. Tensions were very high because they were the first Olympic Games held in Germany since the Nazis hosted the Games in 1936. Israeli athletes were extremely nervous. Many of them had been survivors of the Holocaust or had family members who were survivors. The Israeli team spent the night at the Olympic Village on the night of September 5th after they had attended a play together as a team. At about 4 a.m., 8 members of the Palestinian terrorist organization, Black September, jumped over the fence of the Olympic Village and headed straight towards the building where the Israeli team was staying. The terrorists forced the team out of the apartments. A few of Israelis fought back and 2 were killed. A total of 9 were taken hostage. After the incident had taken place, the police were informed and the news started to spread around the world. As more news reached the U.S., my father had learned more information about the terrorist demands and the condition of the hostages. The terrorists demanded that they wanted 234 prisoners released from Israeli prisons and a couple from German prisons by 9 a.m. that morning. The deadline was pushed to 5 p.m. until the terrorists refused to push it any longer. They refused to let the Israeli hostages go until their prisoners were released. The world was informed about the shocking events, and the police were doing everything in their power to have the Israeli hostages released. A terrorist had demanded a plane to Egypt, hoping this would get their demands met. German officials agreed, but realized they could not let the terrorists leave the country. Operation Sunshine was created to invade the apartment building to retrieve the hostages and get a hold of the terrorists. Terrorists learned about the invasion from the news. Operation Sunshine was not a success, so the Germans planned to attack the terrorists on their way to the airport. They were transported to the airport by helicopter, and the Germans had snipers waiting for their arrival. When the terrorists arrived at the airport, they realized that there were traps set up for their capture. Armored cars arrived, and the terrorists knew that they lost the battle. They tried to escape by jumping in helicopters. 1 terrorist jumped in one helicopter and shot 4 of the hostages, and another terrorist killed the remaining 5 hostages from another helicopter. Snipers killed 3 of the terrorists, and 3 others that survived were taken into custody. This event was unlike anything my father had ever experienced before, especially during one of his favorite family events, the Olympic Games. It gave him his first understanding about the warlike events that were occurring in the Middle East. At just 12 years old, he experienced a major Middle East conflict, the Munich Massacre.